We're live now.
Okay.
Hey, Doug, I can't see your face, but I know you're there. I can hear you breathing.
Yeah, I'm here. All of a sudden, my running show went away, so let's get her started.
Oh, there you are. Yes.
Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress, Kentucky. This week, we're going to discuss some different things that are happening in Kentucky. We've got Elaine Wilson-Reedy, who's a candidate for Kentucky House District 54 in the campaign corner. Then the Kernels are joined by Connie Coartney from Moms Demand Action before closing out with our call to action. But first, are you ready to help turn Kentucky purple? In 47 days, voters across Kentucky will pick between Rand Paul and Charles Booker. We'll pick whether or not we're going to give women any reproductive freedom in our Commonwealth. We'll decide what type of state house will be in Frankfort to work with or against Governor Andy Beshear. These are big decisions, and we need your voice and your vote. If you want a Commonwealth that works for all of us, join Progress Kentucky. It's easy. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you spend time on social media. Make sure to like, share, and comment on our content. And if you like what you're hearing on Kernels of Truth, give us a thumbs up, leave us a review, or share out the show. We're going to start with introductions. We asked our people to say who they are, what is their protest sign today. And you there on the internet, we mean you too. If you have a sign that you want to tell us what your sign says, put it in the chat, and while we're sharing ours. Mine says, let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. Vote no on constitutional amendments 1 and 2. We've talked about both of those, and we're going to talk about them a little bit more tonight. And I'm coming to you, my name is Doug Price. I'm coming to you from Harrison County, which is the 17th formed Kentucky county, but number 1 in my heart. Nema, I'll turn it over to you. What does your sign say?
Mine says lock them up. Today we heard, the big news out of New York where there's a civil suit now against the former president of the United States. And so, mine says lock them up. In fact, Doug, lock them all up. My name is Nema, and I am Nema Brewer, and I'm just filling in today as a co-host. And I'm here on the east side of Lexington, straight from the 606.
Great. Okay, has Kimberly joined us? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead with something I'm calling What's in the News. I'm going to call out some folks. Our very own Moscow Mitch McConnell thinks Florida's Governor DeSantis helped migrants with his Martha's Vineyard stunt. You know, the one where DeSantis hired someone in Texas to hand select immigrants, primarily from war-torn Venezuela, to hop on a plane back to Florida and then on to Martha's Vineyard. For every action, there is a reaction. DeSantis, McConnell, and others like them, as opposed to the good people of Martha's Vineyard who took care of the people who were harmed. I choose Martha's Vineyard over barnyard dogs. What do you think, Nema?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Doug, this really bothered me on a lot of levels, just as a human being. But, a lot of people are thinking that these folks are here illegally. They're not. They're asylum seekers, like you were saying. And so what kind of message are we sending? And, what's funny about Mitch saying this is that, the agriculture industry has really that's the only way. A lot of the times their workers are migrants, their workers are immigrants, their workers are refugees. And to have him say, yeah, this is a great idea, it's just disgusting. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, but it's no shock. It's Mitch.
Yeah, that's true. As an aside, in a new book that was recently talked about, I think today, McConnell is quoted as saying, "We all know that Trump is crazy." McConnell could have helped to impeach and convict Trump. Instead, he chose power over country. Here's a quote from me. "Trump will go down in history as the worst president in American history, and McConnell will go down in history as the worst, most disruptive elected politician." The next story I want to mention is Micah Crane from Oldham County. This is a gentleman who I guess has children in the Oldham County school system, and he disrupted several Oldham County school board meetings, which ultimately led to him being barred from attending those meetings. Now he has sued the board. Perhaps if he had been less violent and openly gave his opinions without rancor, then he would not have to sue to get his way. What do you think about that one, Nema?
Well, you know what I think about that one. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot have public comment. You have to at least abide by common courtesy rules, or you're going to get thrown out. I speak with knowledge about this because I've been escorted out of the House Gallery twice now in Frankfurt. So, I understand that you get angry. I understand things happen, but you can't just keep. I would have gone to jail had I opened my mouth again. And, I didn't really want to spend a night in jail, but, there always are, there's consequences for your actions. And this is an adult, and, it's a school board meeting, and these folks don't get paid that much. These folks don't deserve the grief they've been getting. So this is just a mess, but this is what they're doing. And flipping back to Mitch, Mitch has stacked the court so much, he'll probably get his way. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, Mitch, I don't know. I've talked a lot about Mitch, power and money and power, and it's a circular type situation. I want to mention our very own AG Daniel Cameron, who's back in the news. From a report by Joe Sonka, who is one of my favorite Courier Journal reporters, he decided to join 10 other GOP state attorneys general on Tuesday in a joint amicus brief supporting former President Donald Trump's attempt to have a court-appointed special master go through the classified documents seized at his Florida residence in August. Cameron is Trump endorsed, so it stands to reason that he would want to kiss the ring of Trump. I don't know. I don't know what an attorney general in Kentucky needs to be worried about something the Department of Justice and the court system related to a former president. But it seems like our attorney general is multitasking. Would you think?
Oh, most definitely. Don't forget, Doug, that he said that he was running for the job of attorney general and that he was going to stay with that job. And then all of a sudden, whoops, now he's running for governor. So, it was a bad pick for attorney general. We all knew it. Unfortunately, the Democrats, we got crushed in that. And, we talk about this all the time. Candidates, we've got to have better candidates. We've got to field candidates. And, it's just one of those things, Doug, but nothing Daniel Cameron does surprises me. Because I don't really see that he does anything for Kentucky. I don't even know how many of these amicus briefs he's filed since he's been in office, but it's a lot.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think back to when he first started running for office, there was something about whether or not he was actually qualified to be an attorney general. And I think it had something to do with whether or not he'd actually tried cases. And I know that he gets a lot of publicity when he files something like this, but I'm certain there are attorneys who are working for him, behind him, that are giving him whatever material that he might need. The next story I want to highlight, this just happened today, I think, from the Lexington Herald-Leader. Almost all of the remaining pending charges against racial justice protesters who were arrested in 2020 during demonstrations after the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd have been dropped. This is according to an attorney, David Whitley, who represented almost all of those arrested in connection to the protest. And he said the deal was made as a result of mediation. He represented nearly 25 of those individuals pro bono, free of charge, who were charged in connection to the racial justice protest. Their charges range from disorderly conduct, jaywalking, obstruction of justice, and rioting, among other offenses. This is good to hear. On Friday, one of my grandchildren is going with me to the Pride and Protest rally on Friday. You have any thoughts on that article, Nema?
I'm glad to see it. Angela Evans just took over, and Larry Roberts stepped aside before the term to get her moving in there. I think this is one of the things that she ran on. And it's one of the things that I hope to see more of. I think that these were bogus charges to begin with. I think it was absolutely ridiculous that the former county attorney kept trying to prosecute folks. And, it was an embarrassment to the city of Lexington for them to continue to do that. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's what got Larry Roberts voted out. Lesson learned. And I don't think that he's a bad human being. I think he was on the very wrong side of history on this. And so I'm glad to see it happen. It's long overdue, and they need to do it for all of them, because I think there's a few that still have pending charges, and they need to do it for everybody.
Okay, thanks, Nema. I just noticed that Kimberly Cecil Jones may be with us. Would you like to jump in the show, Kimberly? How are you feeling?
How you all doing?
Hey, Kim.
Oh my goodness, it's so good to be back with family. I wish that you all could see me in better terms, but I am not looking like myself today. So, I'll put a picture up there for you guys so you can remember what I look like.
Well, I have a couple other stories, and unless you want to jump in, Kimberly, with some of your thoughts and ideas, let me know what you want to do.
I sure will. I was trying to get up to close the door because the mister, he's looking at his programs or whatever. They were very large. And you guys know that I just had a total knee replacement. So I'm getting around just a little bit slow, but I did get that door closed. How about that?
That's great.
Kim, are you keeping up with politics while you're laid up?
Yes, I am on certain things. I have been keeping up, as well as looking at the pageantry and pomp and circumstance of Queen Elizabeth's 10-day celebration. So, yes. And you know what I find in all of this? It's the same old, same old. Really, it's the same old, same old. They don't even give us anything new to really talk about. Evil, evil, evil. And let me tell you something. I've been looking at some stuff, and I haven't been cussing out the TV because, they got me on these pain medications, wink, wink. I almost missed the show tonight because of the pain medications, wink, wink. But, it was something that I saw that I really didn't quite understand. And it caused off a firebomb, I guess, in not only in Jefferson County, but also all across Kentucky. We did have a Democratic candidate for a state rep seat here in Jefferson County. I believe it was the 29th district. And Bratcher, I believe, is the incumbent there. And so, matter of fact, I know Matthew Fayette very, very well. Really, really nice young man. I think he could get the job done. However, it was found out that he didn't change his party before December the 31st. So now the party has to find someone if that's going to happen. I haven't heard any news of late. But how can these things never happen again? Why aren't we checking credentials when people actually sign up to run for a race? Where's the disconnect with that, Doug? You know, you are a Dougie Fresh is a policy wonk. So I just know he's gonna know. What can we do?
You know, you would think it would be fairly easy to if you're planning to run for office, which that's never going to happen to me, but if I were going to run for office, I would probably contact the Kentucky Democratic Party, and I'd probably, start researching on exactly what you have to do, and I would know for certain that if I had been registered a Republican in the past, I would know that I should have changed my registration before a certain period of time, which is what I think happened with this gentleman. Something else that I find is interesting about this, it kind of seems like Bratcher knew about it, but waited until what he thought was the very last minute to make it known. And I haven't seen anything lately, but I think I know that Anna Whites may have been involved helping this person, and she felt like it was not too late for the Kentucky Democratic Party to find somebody else. And I just happen to be friends, and I hate to even say this, but I like to get on there every now and then and just, say some things maybe I shouldn't. But I'm friends with Jason Nemes, and Jason was arguing that, oh, no, it was too late. So hopefully it's not too late, and the Kentucky Democratic Party can get another person slated into this race.
Here's my question. How could you forget that you were registered a Republican or registered anything? I mean, I don't know the guy. I think it's embarrassing. I'll be honest. I think it's an embarrassment on the party. I'm just going to say it, but come on, man. Like you didn't realize that you were registered a Republican when you said you'd run for a Democratic seat? What? I mean, my Mamaw Brewer is rolling in her grave. You knew whenever you were a toddler what party you were going to be in. I mean, it was crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've lost Kimberly.
I think we have too. I think she must have dropped out from all of her pain medication. Wink, wink. Now I think we've lost everybody because now Doug is gone. You do not want to hear me talk for an hour. Oh, God. Doug. Annabelle.
All right. I'm not supposed to be here.
Well, this is interesting. So, folks, this is Annabelle. She's actually a young Dem, and so we appreciate her being here. She's working this crazy show today. Oh, Kimberly's back. Thank God.
I'm gone.
Thank God.
You know what? I'm not saying anything about anything. Annabelle does great, but on that, I don't know.
Listen, I was sitting here and it was just my melon on the screen, Kim. Just me.
Well, where in the ham sandwich is Dougie Fresh?
I don't know what happened to him. And so I'm just sitting here like, this is a nightmare. Like,
No, not the nightmare. But
how do I get out of this room? I mean,
like, you know what, Aaron, he is going to like give it to me when he gets back from out of town. He's going to be like, Kimberly. But see, I normally don't, I understand now about this opioid addiction thing. I never have been able to take pain medications before without a lot of complications, but now technology, they just slap this little Band-Aid looking round thing on the back of my neck towards my back of my ear, and they say, here goes some Perca, whatever they're called, and everybody's wanting me to make sure that I am taking them on time every day, but all it does is make me sleepy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you thinking? Are you hearing on this District 29 thing, Kim? I think it's a mess. I just can't. It's amazing. It's truly amazing.
Well, he did file. I did get inside information that he did file to change his affiliation on January the 6th. And I repeated it back to make sure that it was January the 6th, because we also voted him in on the executive committee. And I was like, before I got clarification and verification, I was like, oh my God, we elected a Republican today. But that wasn't the case at all. So I don't know exactly where the disconnect was on that, but I will say this, that, this is a teachable moment for everyone. When we were growing up, it was all about cross your T's, dot your I's. Am I right, Dougie Fresh?
Yes.
So that's just a teachable moment for all of us, basically, to be more cognizant, making sure we have all of the information in. And also we need to see why they're not verifying when candidates do file. I think that their address should be verified. Things should be verified, at that point. So I don't know what can be done except for let this be a lesson to everyone else. Make sure your stuff is done correctly. Go ahead, Doug.
Okay. Thanks for those thoughts. I apologize that I disappeared for just a little bit. Someone came in and hit the wrong button on the computer or something. I don't know. Okay, next up, we have our campaign corner. We're lucky to have with us tonight Elaine Wilson-Reedy. She is running for the Kentucky House District 54. Elaine, are you with us now?
I'm right here.
Yes, great. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll ask you a few questions and learn all about you.
Okay, I'm Elaine Wilson-Reedy. I grew up in Georgia, but have lived in Kentucky since 1993. I have never run for public office. I was originally in my first life an educator, and then I worked in various nonprofit organizations, eventually went to law school, and now just am seemingly doing a full-time job of running for the Kentucky State House. So I live here in Danville with my husband and our 3 rescue dogs, who are all laying, you can't see them, but they're surrounding me.
Okay. Give us an idea. Why are you running? What is so important that you have to, I know this is just a huge time commitment and I know your dogs miss you a lot, as does your husband, I'm certain. So what prompted you to run?
Well, I've been watching politics really for about the last 10 years. And way back sometime in my life, that whole thing, somebody needs to do something. Well, you're someone. And so I've always kind of taken that mantle on. Somebody's got to do something. Well, I'm somebody. So I was asked to run back in the fall by the local chair of the Democratic Party in Boyle County. I said yes. And then I decided I wouldn't do it because it was just going to be too much. And then I told him at the end of December that if no one filed, I would run because I just could not have our current representative run unopposed. I just couldn't do it. And then after watching our General Assembly just flay the people of Kentucky with the decisions they made and the bills they passed, I knew that the decision was right. And I want to fix all of that awfulness that they created.
I have a question. If I may.
Yeah.
I know we just have a couple of minutes here. So you are pro-choice, pro-Andy, and pro-teachers. Is that safe to say?
That is very safe to say.
So on your platform of what you're running with at this particular time, education, probably one of the foremost things there. And you've got a rather large district as it is. How do you think that things are going on the campaign trail right now with being pro-choice, pro-Andy? We love our governor.
We do.
And pro-teachers. And of course, we absolutely adore our educators.
Oh, absolutely. So the number one thing on my platform is to have a fully funded, high quality public education system with easy access for all students in Kentucky. And I consider my platform to be kitchen table issues, retraining people who have lost their jobs, getting people who have been in drug rehab trained to be productive citizens. And, I just think that if we can talk about the things that we have in common, then we can kind of start to overcome some of those trigger issues because everybody's not going to agree on that. Casey County is a very red county. And for me to go down there and talk to folks, I have to talk to people about what makes their lives better. And it's not some random person who may or may not get an abortion. It's whether they can put food on the table and gas in the car. And so that's really what I'm trying to focus on, just so that we can get some just conversations instead of this horrible divide that we have right now.
Well, I'm just going to say this on behalf of Progress Kentucky. Thank you so much, Elaine Wilson-Reedy. We really appreciate you being on the show tonight, and we wish you the best. So tell everybody how they can get in touch with you or give to your campaign. We got about 60 seconds for that.
Okay. My website is www.elaine, the number 4, KYHD54.com. And all of the information is there. You can get in touch with me by email. You can donate to my campaign, or you can volunteer through that website. And I'm also on Facebook, Elaine Wilson-Reedy for state representative. So you can find me both places.
Well, thank you so much, Elaine. We wish you the best of luck. And of course, everybody, her website is in the comments below. So thank you so much, Elaine. And we will be hearing from you, hopefully, as one of our next state representatives.
Yes, ma'am. It's great meeting you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elaine.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I just always think, you guys, like, everybody that comes on here is so wonderful and great. I'm just like, yeah, they're going to win, right? But people don't win unless we get out and vote. So, I challenge everybody, even myself, while I'm convalescing at home in between pain medications and horrible physical therapy, that I will call, email, text 10 people to see where they are right now on voting. We've got 10 friends, colleagues, something, right? And we can check that out. But, I'm really excited also about our next guest because Moms Demand Action is really, really close to my heart. And I know it's close to your heart, Dougie Fresh, and close to Nema's heart as well. So Miss Connie Coartney. Now that I could be saying it wrong, but I said Courtney. So did I say that right?
It's Courtney, actually. Yeah.
Well, see, that was, what, that's what they say when, your first thought is your best thought.
Right.
So
Right.
we really appreciate you being on the show. And Miss Connie Coartney, correct?
Courtney. It's just
Courtney,
like regular
Courtney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a crazy spelling.
I promise you all, I haven't taken any medication. I promise. Okay. Is currently the Kentucky co-chapter lead for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. And Mrs. Courtney became involved in the issue of gun violence prevention after the Sandy Hook shootings in 2012. She has lobbied in Washington, D.C. and Frankfurt in support of common sense gun legislation. She is also actively involved in her church, St. James Episcopal Church in Pewee Valley. And I see here that you enjoy cheering your children on from the sidelines and the pool deck. I like the pool deck part. And let's just go ahead on and call those things that may not be right now as though they are. And we're just going to say that you're blessed, and we're going to get guns off the streets. How about that? We're just going to claim that right now. We're going to get these guns off the streets, and we're going to stop all of this senseless, vile, trifling violence that's going on in our state, especially here in Jefferson County.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I want to say hi to Hank. I think Hank was in the comments, so I wanted to thank him for joining tonight. Yes, I got involved with this because I had a first grader at the time of Sandy Hook, and it just completely destroyed me. But as I got more involved with moms, I realized that the mass shootings get the publicity, but it's that day in gun violence, that daily gun violence. 110 Americans every day die from gun violence. And so that is really what's kept me working on this issue, for these last, 8 years, almost 9 years, maybe. So yeah, so that's what has kept me working on it. And it's been an exciting year as far as some of the federal legislation that's passed. So that's been really rewarding to see that happen.
And Connie, I know that I know you from Sylvia.
Oh, I love my Sylvia. Yeah, she moved to North Carolina.
I know. I miss her so much. I'm going to have to give her a call. But I know that Dougie Fresh has some questions and Nema has some questions. I'm just not going to take it and hog it all up. I just want to ask you like 10,000 things. Dougie Fresh?
Sure. What should voters be asking candidates about their positions on gun safety legislation?
Oh, that's such a great question. And this is really, even in a state like Kentucky, which, obviously you all know what we're up against in the state. But, just asking them where they stand on, safe storage, talking about safe storage, about background checks, closing, loopholes on those, and just, are they in favor of just common sense gun legislation that makes our community safer? And I mean, those are the things that we ask. And that I'm going to kind of segue into our Moms has a Gun Sense Candidate Distinction Program that we award to candidates who've, completed a survey and have kind of vowed to, work on these issues and support common sense gun legislation at whatever level they are. And, that's a distinction. Right now we have 23 candidates in our state that have filled out that questionnaire and have that distinction from moms. So that kind of lets voters know. That might be something to ask them. Are you a gun sense candidate? With Moms Demand Action, and that will kind of tell you where they stand on the issue.
Thank you. Nema, do you have a question you'd like to?
Yeah. Speaking of the candidates, have you all seen like a lower interest in or a higher interest in what you guys are doing, especially since after Uvalde? Because, I think that was kind of another moment where everybody was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And not again.
Actually, at that point, I had been the chapter lead in the state for maybe 6 years, and I had stepped down and I was working with the students, but it was so overwhelming, the response for people wanting to get involved, that, I had to jump back in because we just couldn't handle the influx. People were outraged, just like I was at, during Sandy Hook, and people come to the movement and to this issue, for various reasons and at different stages. And so it was just, people were outraged. And I think, that was the big push where we saw the big federal legislation piece go through. And so, yes, it's been a change as far as candidates. When I first started doing this work, I mean, even Dems didn't want to really talk to us in the state. It just wasn't an issue that they were interested in aligning with us. Nobody wanted to talk about gun violence. They would meet with us, but it wasn't something that they, welcomed as far as an issue. But I think due to Moms and lots of other, organizations, the cultural is shifting on the issue. It's no longer taboo, to talk about gun violence and how it affects us in our country. And it's, a uniquely American issue. So I think we're seeing a cultural shift, and candidates are much more willing to talk to us, even the Republicans now. I mean, they're not always going to agree with us, that's for sure, but at least we get an audience with them, where we never would have done that when I first started this work.
Connie, what about, I remember when Sylvia Burns was here, it was one of the missions to really get the people, especially here in Jefferson County, that were encountering so much gun violence that led to actual fatalities. And so many of them so extremely young. From, let's say, 2016 to now, has that grown, getting more of those mothers involved? How
Yes.
has the organization progressed since 2016? Because the numbers just continue to go up. I just read at Moore High School, I believe yesterday, that a student was found with a gun, and he told the administrators at the school he was scared. That's why he brought it to school. And I don't know the other particulars of that, but I pretty much can assume that it was bullying, perhaps. What is Moms Demand Action doing as far as those type of issues are concerned?
Right. Yeah, we've made a big effort and a push to reach out to those communities that have higher rates of gun violence, and then, city gun violence, or, just the guns on the streets, and, trying to work on those issues as far as gun trafficking, and really, making connections in those neighborhoods and with those people that are most affected by that. So that has been a big push. And we formed some great, alliances with the ACE project, through Rose, that she works in her neighborhood, trying to help with the kids in her neighborhood. So we've worked really hard to form those. Those people are already on the ground doing the work. We just want to be that support for them and show up for them at events, that they're already doing. They're doing the work. They just need, more support. And that's what we've tried to do for those organizations that are already doing that work in the community.
I love that. I had to take myself off mute. So I know that my friend Dougie Fresh has another question for you. See, I can just look at his face and I know. I'm not psychic. I just know.
Well, this is something, I don't know. It is part of the issue, and you may not have any comments on it, but have you been following the Alex Jones trial?
Yeah, to some extent. Not the latest one as much, but a little bit the one prior. I did read, a little bit of that, and I know who he is, and through this work, I've met a lot of those families, and I really don't have any words to express that, of what I think of him that I could say on here. Just a vile, vile person.
Yeah.
I've seen those families, and to do anything to inflict additional pain and suffering onto them is just, I just can't comprehend that. So whatever they do to him is I feel like he deserves, as far as bankruptcy or jail time. I'm for that 100%. And I think there needs to be not only have these families been victimized in a way that we can't even fathom. I can't even imagine that pain. But to have to relive that and to be stalked by people, thinking that your child was an actor and didn't die, it's just, he has to be held accountable for that.
I agree 100%. You said something I'd like to ask you to follow up on. You said you've met many of those families. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. It's in this work, you meet a lot of victims. I meet a lot of families, mothers, brothers, just all kinds of family members that have lost to gun violence, like a mass shooting, has lost a child. And, as a mom to 4 kids, it's, you don't have to be a mom, obviously, but it's just, it just, shakes you to your core. It makes you angry, simply because, like Shannon Watts has said, this is not something that is unpredictable or, like an act of nature that we can't do anything about. We have the means and the method, to stop this, but we just refuse to as a country. So, it makes you so angry. Victims of suicide, families that have dealt with that. And, one of our members is Holland Holm, who actually was at the shooting. Michael Carneal it's coming up for probation at, the Paducah shooting. And, that happened so many years ago. And yet his life is still, affected by that and the trauma that those families go through. I think about his family, his wife, just going through that all again. And it just shows you that the cycle of gun violence just doesn't end, when someone's injured or passes away. It just ripples on through families and communities for years and years. And and that, that's happened in a lot of communities. And I just feel like that's why I'm so passionate about this work, is that, this is something that we can put a stop to. And, at least we're not going to end it all. I'm not, Pollyanna by any means, but we can do so much better than what we're doing. And we owe it to our kids and our communities, to make the effort.
Yes, most definitely. And it seems like now what we want to do is put armed guards in schools, and we want to build safer schools, when the obvious solution has to do with regulation of gun laws and that sort of thing.
I've never understood why our only response is to wait till a person enters the building with a gun before we try, no preventative measures. It's always up to the teachers or somebody within the buildings to stop them, instead of making it harder. for people, who might are, in danger to themselves or others, from having weapons that, that they shouldn't have, firearms. So, yeah, to put the onus on a teacher or, the person already in the building, why can't we be proactive and do just some common sense things, which is, like I said, I'm excited about the federal legislation that was passed because I do feel like it addresses a lot of different issues. And I think it's a very good first step. So.
Exactly, like a first step, but we need so much more because not
Yes.
only are, our children bringing guns to school, but, you know, where I live here in Louisville, in Jefferson County, like on a very popular highway, which is 264, which I would be traveling every day to go to work and come home or whatever I'm going to do. And there were 3 shootings on that expressway over the weekend. Sometimes I think to myself, Connie, if we can find bin Laden, I believe we can find the guns. And we need to actively be finding the guns because it goes all the way back to that. Not only do we have to have common sense legislation when it comes to obtaining a gun, but also concurrently, we have to work upon getting these illegal guns off of the streets because your everyday type of crimes are not always, licensed carriers. They went to the pawn shop or the gun shop to buy their gun. Most of these every day, and I hate to even, you know what, it doesn't even sound right to say that. These everyday murders, but it is becoming every day. These are primarily illegal guns on the streets. And what are your thoughts about cleaning these streets up, not just here in Louisville, but all over Kentucky with these illegal guns?
Yeah, and that was part of the bipartisan Safer Communities Act. For the first time ever, that was the first time that gun trafficking was actual, a federal offense. Before, that had never been on the books. So I think I'm hoping that that's going to make some type of a difference, and also that we had not had an ATF director, which deals with a lot of the gun trafficking issues. We had not had a director for over 7 years, and that was something that President Biden had promised. Moms worked very hard on that, and so that and so he was. We now have a new director and on that. So that's another thing that I'm hoping that they're going to start focusing and actually have. Laws that they can apply to those situations as far as the gun trafficking, and a lot of things. And when you talk about Louisville, what I see so often are people, are just negligent as far as storage of their firearms. There's so many of those firearms are picked up in people's cars, that people leave unlocked and stored unsecurely in their cars. And it's just, that's easy pickings to go through people's cars. And, everybody's wondering why there's so many car break-ins. Well, they're looking for firearms. And, until people start being a little bit more responsible with those firearms, that I don't see that stopping. And so that's another program that Moms has. We talk about, especially like in a state like Kentucky, we're a very red gun state. So we try to talk about, it's called Be Smart, and it talks about safe storage of firearms. And do you, are those locked and separated from your, your ammunition, that type of thing. So it's public, I think, service, talking about those type of things, I think will help get some of those guns off the street.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate everything that Moms Demand Action is doing. I know that you all work tirelessly. Did I say that right?
Sounded good to me.
Nema, now see, Nema's going to tell me the truth. Did I sound like I was slurring that, or did
No,
I?
ma'am, you sounded great. You sounded
just want
great.
to make sure, I just want to make sure. So I know the work and the heart and the passion that you all put into what you do, and we just really, really appreciate that. And I think Nema has one last question. We got a couple of minutes with you. If you got a couple of minutes for us, yes.
Sure.
Just how can we help? What is it that you all need?
Well, we always need volunteers. If you're, you like, and we tell everybody, if during election cycle, we're making phone calls for our gun scent candidates. We're doing phone banks for Charles Booker. We're getting out and canvassing for some of our candidates. If you've always wanted to do that, you're looking for a way to get involved. We have something for everybody, whether you've got 5 minutes to spend or to make a couple of phone calls, or this weekend we're going to be in Louisville at the Nulu Festival. We've got a booth there, getting the word out about the work that we're doing. So a lot of people thank us for the work, and when we say don't thank us, join us, because it's a cultural movement, and we need everybody to be passionate about this issue. And you can text READY, which is READY, to 64433, and that will get you hooked up with the moms and get you in our system, and we can let you know about events that we have going on across the state. I mean, we have events in Frankfort. We just got a new group going in Eastern Kentucky, which we're excited about, and also E-Town, which we've never had a moms group in E-Town, a local group. So the message is getting out there in the state. I think people are embracing just, common sense. And so we're excited about opportunities ahead.
Hey, Miss Connie, let me ask you a question. I put out a challenge earlier that all of us this week are going to contact 10 people, just family members, colleagues, friends, whatever. Just contact them, make sure that they're registered to vote, make sure they know what district they are in for real, right? And,
Yes.
say, hey, are you going to be voting? And just 10 people. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It could just be, hey, girl, how you doing? Yeah, girl, my husband's getting on my nerves too. But hey, are you going to be voting in November?
That sounds
Right?
great. Yeah, and
Exactly.
I'm excited because we actually have students demand action groups, and I just saw where there's 2 events at some local schools, at these high schools, where the students are doing voter registration drives. So that's exciting to make sure that all those students that are eligible to vote are registered. So that's exciting that that they're getting involved at this level too.
That is really exciting. Thank you, Miss Connie. And I'm
Thank
sure
you
that we'll be
for.
talking to you really, really, really soon. So everyone, text ready to 64433. And this woman was just dynamic. She knows her stuff. Get involved. Like, don't be at home complaining to your friends and your husband or your wife about what's going on. Stand up and do something. And the most gracious thing that all of us can do is use our American right to vote. All of us now have that right to vote. So, Miss Nema, I think Miss Nema is going to be doing the call to action.
Oh, do I get the call this year? All right, I'm doing it. Let's see. Maybe. Yes, our friends at
Uh-oh.
Forward Kentucky do what now?
I said,
Uh-oh,
uh-oh.
I know, right? Sorry. Our friends at Forward Kentucky have put some time and energy into a wonderful new online resource to keep track of candidates, endorsements, fundraising, and all the information you need to know over the next 47 days. 47 days, y'all. Woo! They've also just added a great list of candidate interviews using our content as well as my Old Kentucky podcast. If you want to know where to go from here to hear from folks seeking your vote, head to forwardkentucky.com. Is that a / election - central - interviews? I think I've fulfilled that. Yeah.
I'll finish it up for you,
Oh,
Miss
sorry,
Nema.
Sid.
I was over there looking at you like, oh my God, your kitchen looks so inviting. Like I just want to come over there and get some cereal, with some milk and just sit down and, chop it up, hash it up, whatever you want
Which
to call
one?
it. But on Friday, which is this Friday, September the 23rd, there will be a rally in downtown Lexington. And it's going to be at the Lexington Courthouse Square at 5:30 p.m. Now, this rally is being organized by Pride and Protest, which is a new group on the scene, motivated by the loss of Roe versus Wade. They are really, really getting active. So if you are in the Lexington area, anywhere nearby the Lexington area, I would suggest that you go this Friday at 5:30 at the Stevens Courthouse Plaza. So also, we need you to take our poll. We've got over 275 responses so far, and we'd like to hit 300. Can you please, baby, please take less than 5 minutes of your time to go ahead and pick the worst actions of the most terrible, horrible, no good, trifling, dirty dog legislature, right? So once we hit 300 responses, we'll share with the media and help remind voters what the GOP supermajority is doing to our Commonwealth. We got, united we stand, divided we fall. We live in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and we've got to stand together and get these, crazy people out, and I don't mean that in a slur, any type of derogatory manner towards any of us that deal with mental health issues. But I'm just going to say they're very asinine to me. And I think they are to you as well. So do that little thing, and we'll be so happy. We only have 25 more that we need. Then we can get it done. Okay. Now, next week, we're going to come back here in our campaign corner. We will feature Martina Jackson, who's running for House 91, and Brittany Hernandez Stevenson, who's running for House District 15. So, make sure that you join us to meet these awesome candidates as well. Now, I got to do the disclaimer. Progress Kentucky is a nonprofit organization registered with the Kentucky Secretary of State, organized as a 501c4, is affiliated with the Indivisible Project and the Commonwealth Alliance Voter Engagement, otherwise known as CAVE. Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. So production this evening was by the one and the only, my girl, who I love very, very much. I'm so proud of her. She makes me know that the future will be bright for us with young people like Annabelle Nagel, just a wonderful young lady. And just want to give a shout out to Hank Linderman. Hey, Hank, I haven't seen you since we were at the not so fancy farm picnic and cookout that was at Mike Breuer's farm that they used to have, Chicken Bristle Farm. Also, I have to make sure that I thank Nate for the theme song, and you can find more information and music at natosongs.com for him. And if you miss our weekly live streams, I just want to make sure that all the time, you can go back to the Progress Kentucky Facebook page, and you can rewatch any shows that you would like, and our source links are always in the comments below. And if you are at work and you can't have, stuff on your computer, I get it. But you can put those ear pods in and you can listen to us on Apple, Google, Spotify, and basically wherever you get your podcast. Now, some logo and some graphic content was provided by Couchfire Media, and more information can be found at couchfiremedia.com. I'm just going to say this: Nema and Dougie Fresh, great guest tonight. Absolutely top notch. I learned a lot tonight. I hope Aaron's not mad at us. I'm not going to answer the phone.
We kept it on the rails. Annabelle, we kept it on the rails. We only had that one moment where it was just me. And that was terrifying.
Well, I'm talking about I got on late, couldn't hardly get on. And I couldn't move as fast as I could to close the door. Girl, I'm just
Listen, we
saying.
made it. We made
We
it.
made it, and I see my family again. I haven't seen you all in so long.
No.
Keep positive energy coming my way. If you are a prayer, pray, my way. It's not going as smooth as I had anticipated. But guess what? Connie was amazing. Elaine was amazing. And make sure that you guys go and text ready to 64433. Ready 64433. That's all you got to do. It's not just moms. We need just people demand action, okay? But the moms, you know how we got to start it, right? We got, it's who rules the world? Girls, you know what I'm saying? So I see how Dougie Fresh is looking. He's like, yeah, my wife, she let me know that long, long time ago. That's right, Kimberly. That's right. I know. So you know what? I love you guys. I'm so glad I was back tonight. I'm so glad for our listeners and our viewers. And guess what? We'll be back at the same time, same bat channel next week. And it's Wednesday. You know what I'm going to say. You probably been missing it because I don't know what they've been doing since I've been gone. But you know what? Do something nice for somebody. It doesn't cost any money to smile at somebody, especially when Kentucky is known to be one of the top states of unhappy, depressed people. If we smiled more, we would get off of that top 10 list. I promise you that. So do something nice for someone. Pay it forward, right? Pay it forward. And guess what? You'll feel better about yourself and you'll make someone else feel better as well. Thank you all for looking tonight, and we'll see you next week.
See y'all.
Hello there. Do you follow politics? Of course you do. That's why you're watching this video. So I invite you to add Forward Kentucky to your politics sources. Forward Kentucky is an organization devoted to covering Kentucky politics, policy, and politicians. Our tagline is objective news, effective policy, and progressive commentary. We've got lots of ways for you to keep up, from the website itself, to our podcasts, to our posts on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Reddit, to our YouTube and TikTok channels. And we've got a newsletter you can get for free. Just go to forwardky.com to learn more and to sign up. Forward Kentucky, the progressive voice for Kentucky politics.